Hey there, Scorpio. Welcome to part 2 of your January 17th weekly reading. This is part 1. It is linked down below as the top pinned comment. You can watch part 1 if you haven't already. But we're going to jump right in here, Scorpio, and we're going to clarify all this and see kind of like where this is going. In a lot of ways, I feel like this is one of those readings that's saying release and start something new, whatever it is that you're starting. I also do feel like it's encouraging you to try new things with that Eight of Swords, which we talked about in the first part of the reading. But throwing cards. With the Ten of Cups, you have the Tower. Again, like I said in your first reading, it's like this right here, this Ten of Cups going this way, Eight of Swords to the Four of Pentacles. It's almost like a broken promise. That's exactly what I said in the first reading. With the Tower card, that is a punch in the face right there because, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like I said, Ten of Cups, very happy, total happiness. And then Tower, sudden change. And that's what I was feeling in the first reading. If you remember, in the first reading, I was basically saying, this reading gives me the vibes of someone like telling you, I want to marry you, I love you, blah, blah, blah. And then like the next day breaking up with you, it has that type of feeling. So I'm not saying this is love. I'm just giving you an example. For a lot of you, I do feel like it is love. For others, I feel like it could be like a business. Maybe you thought a business was going to be the end-all, be-all, but it just wasn't. There is an element of needing to cut your losses here as well, Scorpio, because like I said, I was getting that kind of like, like sunk cost fallacy type of thing where you've put so much into something, it's hard to let go of. But, the example I used was Bernie Madoff. It's like, if you keep investing in something, it's just going to not work out. So someone needs to hear that. With the Three of Swords, you have the Hermit. The Hermit is like going through a dark night of the soul. Definitely a very heavy type of energy going on here, but it is an energy of soul searching. So I do feel like you are becoming more successful because of what you're going through. I know it might not be, some of you, I feel like this might be, like I said, a punch in the face or punch in the gut. For others, I don't think it's that dramatic, but what I would say is I do feel that you have climbed to the top of the mountain. And like I said, why would you want to be at the top of the mountain? Because that's where you get the best views, Scorpio. So, that's what I'd say here. With the Five of Wands, you have the Justice card. So there will be justice or there will be a turnaround coming in for you. The Justice card does ask us to look at things in a neutral perspective. It does, the Justice card asks us to look at things from, kind of like both sides here as well. I am getting something here. Like, I'll just tell you a story, Scorpio. Like years ago, I had a business when I was like 21, super successful. And then that business, I let it go and it failed. And, So for years, I was trying to become successful again. Obviously, I wanted to get back up there. And I was trying to like work and trying all these things. And nothing was working. Nothing I was trying was working at all, period. And I used to like drive around my car and just scream, literally. I used to like go for rides and I would just scream. Because it's like I would work my ass off on a project for like a super long period of time, put everything I had into it, and then it would just, nothing would happen, period, right? I get that feeling for you here in this first row. So I feel either you already have felt this feeling before in some area of your life, love, money, spirituality, health, business, whatever, or this is what you're currently going through. Justice card is like, looking back, I can say this now, looking back, that, it's like there were so many things that I was doing, that I was saying to myself, the words I was using. It's like all those things were holding me back, right? So Justice card asks us to like take a step back and look at both sides. It's like, yeah, things aren't working out. Things aren't going according to plan, but it's like, why? Over here, it's like, are you putting your energy on the wrong side of the scale? I was for those like 3 years. It's like I was basically trying to force something to happen, and everything I was doing, I didn't actually want to do. I was doing it so that I could get away from the pain quickly. I wasn't trying to do something for the long term, right? So just reflecting a little bit, and what changed? I stopped doing that. I did something. I built something long term. This channel that you're watching right now, Scorpio. So I feel like this is saying take a step back. And not typical justice vibes is what I would say, but that's what I'm getting. A very karmic energy. I mean, to get the Tower and the Justice card together, very this is like karmic clearing type of stuff going on here. With the King of Pentacles, you have the Ten of Cups. What do you know? Ten of Cups is fortune after difficulty, happiness. I'm telling you right now, this is what you are going to want to do, this top row. I'm not here to tell you what to do. Again, I don't think tarot should tell you say you have to do this. To me, tarot is just loose advice, but this is the good direction, the top row there. going towards the Knight of Pentacles, I feel like that is going to be the thing that, kind of breaks you free from this energy for sure. With the Eight of Swords, you have the Page of Cups. Definitely new love coming in for you. So if you're looking for love or if you're worried about it, I feel there is love coming in for you. Take your time to heal, all that other stuff, as I always say. But I do feel like there is an admirer coming in for you. Could be a water sign. Some of you, it's like you're leaving a Virgo or a Libra. Could be someone born in that area and moving on to a water sign with that Page of Cups. But the Page of Cups is like using your imagination. And again, with the Eight of Swords, the Page of Cups is clarifying the Eight of Swords. Like I said in the first reading, I would be using your imagination. Eight of Swords is doing things the same way for too long and needing to try something new. All three water signs basically have the same message, by the way. With the Sun, you have the Hangman. Could be a Pisces for some of you. But what I would say, by the way, is that the Sun and the Hangman together are definitely enlightenment. The Hangman, he is hanging himself from this tree to gain enlightenment. He's hanging himself from this tree to gain some wisdom. So for a lot of you, this to me looks like enlightenment, both of these cards showing up together. It's like you're waking up to something. You're understanding why you had to make certain sacrifices. The Hangman is about making a sacrifice. So it's like you're understanding the sacrifices you had to make, why you had to make them, why you had to go through. It's like, why? I get that. Those are the words that I get in my head with the Hangman. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Six of Swords, so moving on to calmer shores, definitely improvements, like I said, where I'm telling you right now, this top row is your answer. Even the Tower is your card, but the Tower is falling because things have been the same for too long. And so those people are being grounded in reality. I feel like the faster you release something that you thought was going to bring you happiness, and the faster you move on to something new, that's like you are going to be successful. Like I said in your first reading, I think sunk cost fallacy is the best way to describe the energy I'm getting in this reading. It's like you invested a lot of time, effort, and energy into something, so letting it go is difficult. These people on this card, the Six of Swords represents baggage. This mother and her child have released all of their baggage. They have left their entire life behind them for the chance at a better future. So they're moving on to calmer shores for the opportunity to experience something better in their life that they maybe have never experienced before. But again, they've had to sacrifice everything. So this is a pretty intense reading because I get that feeling for you where it's like, maybe you've been building a business, but maybe it's just not going anywhere. And it's like you're having to sacrifice it to move on to build something new. But I like to remind people all the time that you're not starting from scratch. It's like you might be releasing something, but it's like you're not starting from zero. You're starting from all of that wisdom and the knowledge and everything else that you gained. So you have a lot to gain here. And with the Nine of Cups, you have the Temperance card. Yeah, you can easily turn the situation around. Temperance, you can turn a positive into a negative, or you can turn a negative into a positive. It's your choice. This is the path to glory right here as well, Scorpio. So, this card says, like, there are good times ahead. There are good things coming in for you, but you need to be the one to turn these situations around. And with the Four of Pentacles, you have the Page of Pentacles, definitely a new beginning coming in for you. I would be learning as much as you can with this energy because Page of Pentacles, definitely a card of learning. And again, I would move towards this last row. I'm actually going to pull one last row here. Let's see, like, what is the outcome of putting work into something new? You have the Nine of Swords. Worries. It doesn't surprise me. Again, Nine of Swords is a temporary situation, but it's like with the Nine of Swords, having to start over or having to start something new seems to be the challenge in your reading. Yeah, you have the Four of Wands, though. Freedom, total celebration, and happiness coming in for you. Oops, sorry. It's my first day, Scorpio. So with the Four of Wands, it's like you're being set free. You're having a celebration. So I would definitely move towards a new beginning. This could be marriage as well. So there definitely could be love coming in for you with the Four of Wands. And finally, you have the World. Love it. Accomplishment, wishes. You show up right here as the eagle or the phoenix right here. Traditionally, you were the phoenix in astrology. And what I would say with the World is it's like you're going to be accomplishing a goal probably a lot faster than you think. Again, there's no reason to drag it out because I feel like your reading is pretty simple. It's just saying, let go of something you've been holding on to. and it's going to lead to the Four Wands in the world, hopefully, a lot more success. With the Nine of Swords, you have the Emperor, something controlling you. Again, your fears, worries, your doubts. I would let go of the fears with the Emperor energy. I do feel like a little bit more of this Emperor energy needs to be kind of injected into your life in general. He's more willing to take action. He's more willing to do something. He's more willing to get up and kind of move. He's ready for action as well. With the Four Wands, you have the Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, getting to work on one thing. With the Eight of Pentacles, he's not just working to work. That's kind of where I was going with the whole screaming in the car story. It's I was just doing stuff just to do stuff, just hoping that it would pull me away from the pain. But I wasn't doing things, consciously, if that makes sense. I wasn't doing something that actually mattered. I was just doing things just to do them to rush, if that makes sense. And I feel like this Eight of Pentacles is more of a practiced effort. He is working on one thing to gain mastery. So for a lot of you, it's you might, I feel that, the reason I'm telling you these stories is because I feel that energy of wanting to remove pain. I totally get it. I totally get wanting to move away from pain. Totally understand wanting, it's probably one of our main motivators as humans is moving away from pain. And so I totally understand. But I feel like the Eight of Pentacles is saying, slow things down. Put the work into something that's going to last for a very long period of time. Don't just get into a relationship just to be in a relationship, just so you don't have to be alone, right? Just so you don't have to feel the pain. I feel like it's saying find things of quality to work on, and that's the solution here with the Eight of Pentacles. With the World, you have the Two of Wands, having the whole world in your hands with the Two of Wands. You can see here that he has the whole world in his hands there. He's reaching forward to a new wand, and the old wand is standing behind him. That wand there, it's the last chapter of his life, or the previous chapter, I should say. It's not the last chapter, but it's the one before the one he's on right now, right? So it's you're on a new chapter in your life. You're kind of turning the page, or whatever you want to call it, and it's you're ready to get out into the new world. I like this card, but he is looking out into the world, and he's got the world in his hands. It's the one that he has in his hands is all his past experiences. He's thinking about all the things that he used to be able to do, and maybe he can't do those things any longer, but he's got the whole world in front of him. He needs to he's standing at the top of a castle. He needs to get out of the castle, and he needs to get into the world. So I kind of feel that for you, mostly because it's showing up with the World card. This card is saying it is time for a change, and it's definitely time to let go of some sort of, broken promise or something like that from the past. And again, this could be a promise that you've broken with yourself. Like I said, it could be maybe you thought a business was going to be better than it actually was, and it wasn't. So it's you're moving past that type of energy. Pretty interesting. Like I said, the readings have been kind of heavy this week. I'm not going to lie or sugarcoat it, like I said, but I feel like you're making your way through it. So I like that, and there's definitely some good things to look forward to. Like I said, I think your solution is that Knight of Pentacles, to just start planting seeds towards something new. You're going to probably feel better right away in taking the action, right? Knight of Pentacles, he's the only knight that isn't taking action. And, but, once he takes action, he feels like he's doing something. He's making progress. Eight of Pentacles, those are two very similar energies. So thank you for being here, Scorpio. Really appreciate it. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising for a full picture of what's going on for you. Again, part 1 is also linked up down below. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your week.